Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the PHNX Rising podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. My name is Ramon Chavez. Super happy to be back here. Alongside me is my partner, Owain Evans, and back there we got Edwin Perez. So we got the whole crew tonight. How are we doing,
we
fellas?
thought that we were going to get rid of Edwin. I thought that we clarified that last week when we had Sean in here, right? He was here to replace you, Edwin.
I thought he was getting rid of me last week because he took this chair.
No.
You're not gonna stop me, Edwin. Not that easily.
I promise.
I'm here.
I made it very clear. I was not here to replace Ramon. I was just here to fill in his shoes, and happy to see the boys are all back together, especially after a good preseason doubleheader that we all were at.
A chilly preseason, at least to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, very happy to be back here. We have a lot to talk about today. But before we get to that, I do want to let you know, if you guys haven't yet, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video. It really helps us out. We see our Twitter numbers are skyrocketing as well. So make sure to follow us there if you haven't. And it just helps us out, bring more people in, talk about Rising before the season starts, and we all just have a good time here on the show. So appreciate that. All right, so we have a big show for you guys today. We'll be discussing Friday's doubleheader between Rising and Valley United and Detroit City FC. We did get some info on the 2022 jerseys that are coming out, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Also, Owen has a U.S. Open Cup update for us as well. And by the end, Owen is doing all the work this show. He has some treats for us, so we're going to be enjoying some really good treats for Welsh treats.
As long as you don't call them cookies again, like you did on Twitter. They're not.
I apologize for that, sincerely. But all right, let's go ahead and get started with the show, y'all. Friday, again, they had a doubleheader over there at Wild Horse Pass. It was a great time over there. Rising scored 5 goals on Valley United. Very great game. I know you and Edwin over there were busy creating these highlights. If you guys haven't seen them, go to our Twitter page because they're all there. Fantastic job by these two. And Rising came out with the lineup of Lunt and Jai Levin, a trialist, Darnell King, Calistri, Seijas, Rodriguez, Moore, Hurst, and Antwi. And again, they won by the score of 5-0 over Valley United. So a lot to talk about this game. But before we talk about that, let's hear what Rick Shantz had to say after the game.
Well, I thought the first game we were very, very good when we played simple, 1 and 2 touch. I thought the ball movement was fantastic. It was helpful to go and to watch Valley United and to kind of understand a little bit what we were expecting as far as their style of play. And Detroit, we had no idea what to expect, and they were in a 3-5-2, so it was we hadn't even talked about how to break down a 3-5-2. So I think tactically we were struggling in the first half. And some of the guys, I think Channing, this was a big step up for him and a big challenge. And Ryan was, he struggled in the first half, but came on and had the right mentality in the second half. So overall, a great experience. I think the best thing for me tonight was to see our 17 and 18-year-olds get to play the last 15 minutes. And, with such confidence, it was so awesome for them to move the ball. And we were praying that they were going to get that last chance and score the goal to win it. That would have been pretty awesome. So I got to speak to all of them and tell them how proud I am to watch them play and to play in this environment against a team like that, and to play with such confidence is amazing, and it's moving in the right direction for Phoenix Rising, and I think the future is even brighter.
Awesome. So some great thoughts there by Rick. Owen, you were at the game over there. What were your thoughts overall against against Valley United? I
think the main thing, to really be honest, that was my main takeaway from it, was that Valley United were worse than I expected. That might sound harsh, right? This is a team, again, we went into that game, we knew nothing about them. We didn't know who was going to be playing for them, any of that. They were poor, very, very poor. And that's a team that we are going to see again this season because of the Open Cup. And I think that my main takeaway, if anything, was that if that Valley United team that we saw is the one that we're going to see in April in the Open Cup, then I am not really inclined to accept any excuses for an early departure this year. I think that, they just were completely outplayed. Rising was on a complete different level, and it wasn't even a team that was full of Rising starters necessarily. There was some out there, yes. It was a kind of mixed bag. I know Rick kind of spoke about that. He didn't necessarily want them segmenting into groups on that day. He wanted them to be a bit more mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
But, if Rising can put out a half first string, half second string team and just steamroller them over 75 minutes in the way that they did. Yeah, I think that's taught us all we should expect for the Open Cup.
No, and I agree. When it comes to their matchup in April, like you're saying, I completely agree. There shouldn't be any excuses with them not being able to get to the third round. So, Valley United, again, we didn't really know anything about them. Looking at them on the field against Rising players, physically Rising are way, like on another level. Technically, systematically, you could see it as well, and they didn't really have that much of an issue handling them. There were 5 goals. First one was by Joey Calistri, second one by Arturo Rodriguez, 2 by Richmond Antwi, and Greg Hurst had the final one. So anybody in particular that I know everybody played well, but anybody in particular that kind of stood out to you while you were watching the game?
I really like that pairing up at the top. I think that they played very well off of each other. I think there were a lot of times. I mean, Greg got, he didn't just get 1 goal; he got 2 assists in there.
Yeah,
I think that game is something that we've been waiting to see Greg Hurst play in a way that really stood out. In that game, he really stood out.
Yeah.
Okay, he was so instrumental to. I mean, as I said, it was 3 goals, right? One that he scored, 2 with the assist. I think that we should be really looking to him to have a chance. And I know Rick actually said about this week that he thought that maybe there's a chance that we will actually see Greg Hurst with the first string out there as the number 9. So I think that at the moment Greg Hurst he kind of staked his claim there that he wants to have that starting role.
Yeah, and you saw him because him and Richmond if Richmond was staying up top because they were playing like a 4-4-2 system. Hurst would drop down if there was a gap right in the middle just to receive the ball and be able to turn and feed him or spread it out to the wings, which I really enjoyed. And you can really see his prowess when it comes to having the ball on his feet because he had no issue getting by 3-4 defenders at a time and setting up his teammates. So I really appreciated that. What did you think of Jonathan Leving in the back, starting as a center back?
I think it's something that's hard to tell a huge amount. And it's going back to the very first point I made about this game, which is that the talent gulf was it felt vast on the night. And to a degree, a professional footballer should be able to kind of put in a shift as a makeshift in another position, especially if they're up against players that are significantly inferior, which is what it felt that night. I think that he could fill a role in there. It wasn't something, whenever Rick was asked about it, he didn't seem too much like as though that's really going to happen. It was more of a one night kind of thing. I think from my perspective, I'd rather withhold judgment on that until I can see him playing against a higher caliber of opposition in that kind of a position.
He did have a partner as far as a trialist was concerned. I'm not 100% sure. I think he played against Sporting Kansas City as well. Again, we don't have names for these guys, so I'm not sure if he did, but I feel like they were okay. Levin, he's a little bit shorter on that side, so when it came to those long balls, he maybe had a few issues with headers and positioning, but overall, I felt like you're saying makeshift-wise, it was great. So, was there anybody else that kind of stood out, or what do you feel about Arturo? I think Arturo did great as well.
Arturo had a fantastic performance. He really did, and it's something that we've seen all the preseason, really. He's come back as a very good player, and I think we're going to touch on that later today, but very, very excited about what we're seeing from him.
Definitely. When we got to the game, we saw the lineup. We're like, are they playing a 4-4-2? And once they got on the field, it worked really well. It felt like these guys had already practiced it a bunch of times, and I believe you asked Rick about it, right, during the press conference today. So let's hear what he had to say.
Well, I thought the first game. The main reason we did it is because Carlos and Guiano's been battling a little bit of a knee issue, and with Richie and Greg, it kind of allowed us to try it and to try that system a little bit. But we also played a little bit more experienced group in midfield, so they could deal with having one less guy. man, you can see that when we have two forwards like that, we put a lot of pressure on center backs, and teams that like to attack and like to let their fullbacks go, it's going to put them in big trouble. So, we've talked about it, but usually in our league, not a lot of teams come here and let their fullbacks go that much and attack with such reckless abandon. So we end up with, instead of having 5 on the back line like we do in our 4-3-3, we end up with only 4 on the back line, and it's I was surprised to see that Valley United was often man-to-man at the back with us, and we'll take that in any league.
If you were to look to play in that kind of a formation in the regular season, how do you think you'd work out the forward pairing?
Well, you don't want to have two forwards that are the exact same generally in a 4-4-2, and I think Claudio brings kind of a target hold-up play, but so does Richie, just a little bit different in his style, and I thought Richie and Greg really paired extremely well together. Greg's been fantastic in preseason. The only thing he hasn't had a chance is to play as a single 9 by himself really with the first group, so we'll probably give that a run just to see what it looks like, and I'm happy with all 3 of them. They're very good. We've scored a lot of goals for preseason, and I think it's because of a lot of the work that those guys are doing.
Right, Edwin, I'm sorry. Can you throw that comment up, please? We can see it there, right? Edwin strikes again, right? Mate, we spoke about this.
Michael, why are you doing this, man? Everyone's just trying to do this.
Listen.
Edwin, we spoke about this. Come on, answer for yourself, man. Come on.
Pre-show, flipped it a little bit, all right? And I was just excited. I had this Welsh cake next to me. I was staring at it, and I realized Ramon was teasing me in, so I was like, oh, this is my time to shine, but I hit the wrong one. Because he also talked about the formation change post-game. So I was
He
like,
did. That's true.
Technically,
I think we're going to have to get Sean back if this carries on.
Listen,
you're doing great, Edwin.
I do serve that. You're right. But Sean is the GOAT. You're right. People wanted more Sean. But don't worry. I'll correct my mistakes.
No worries, Edwin. So, back to the 4-4-2. Are we going to continue to see this, or was this like a one-time deal just because of the double header on Friday?
I think it's got to be an option they have in the pocket, right? We've spoken so often about Rising as this team that are almost one-dimensional at times, right? They've got all they do is they hammer home on the firepower that they've got in there, but they come out looking roughly the same in most games, don't they? Where's the plan B? I remember this is a question I've been asking for years, right? And I remember in 2019, maybe harshly, when I was throwing it at him when it was late in that win streak, and I was asking Rick, like, what's the plan B? Because you don't, sometimes they didn't look too good. And it was always being like, well, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. It is working, we're better than anyone else pretty much out there at doing what they do. And they were for a lot of that time. But it is actually quite exciting to have a plan B. I'm not sure how often we'll see it because, as Rick alluded to in that, often the benefit of having the 2 up top is that you're going to kind of put more people on their a stretched back line, right? Especially if the fullbacks are coming up. It puts more pressure on them to keep people back. They don't send, a lot of teams don't come and play Rising and go gung-ho attack. Yeah. At all. So, I don't know. I think it's something that's needed, though, in the back pocket, just in case.
I think at certain points, you even saw it was Santi, Hurst, Richie, and then Calistri literally all the way to the front. And like you're saying, stretching that back line and having that kind of opens up the lanes for the midfielders to come through and, put that defense on their heels. So I like the formation. I don't know if they're going to use it, but apparently, especially against a team that's a little bit better than Valley United. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I was a fan of it, especially with that duo up top. So great stuff. It was a little bit chilly. I'm just going to say it because if you guys were following us on Twitter, again, PHNX __rising. It was a little bit chilly on my end, but regardless of that, what was that?
It's double the underscores, double the fun.
That's true. I forgot.
I forgot.
Edwin, we're gonna get fired.
I'm surrounded by amateurs today, guys.
This is rough. I
was waiting for him to jump on. I gave him a beat, but
I was so excited because I was like, this is the show that Ramon pissed off Owain before the show, so he'll lay off me. But I guess both of us.
There's plenty to go around.
Yeah, it is what it is. But
and if you guys haven't followed us, again, 500 followers is our goal. We're at 410, 411 last time I saw.
Around there.
You guys can get us there to the finish line. Let's do it, guys. Even if you're not on Twitter, just follow us for the Owain and PHNX Rising content. So let's talk, before we talk about Detroit City, we did get some news about something going on Monday, Owain. recently by Phoenix Rising. So do you want to talk about a little bit about that?
We're having it's a kit reveal, isn't it?
Look, they didn't say it. They just said show up.
There's a kit reveal. There's a kit reveal, guys. Yeah, so 6 o'clock at the Churchill on Monday.
Maybe more important, we're gonna be there. Come on now.
We're gonna be there. That's the important thing. Come say hi. We will be there.
Owen already said I'm grabbing a beer. Regardless of what's going on, I'm just gonna grab a beer after. So
yeah,
it'll be a good time.
And if you want to, feel free to say more Sean to my face. I'll take it.
Oh
I'll take it live right there.
But only if you buy Edwin a beer. It's a condition of that.
It's a condition, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be out there. Obviously,
no one picks on the intern except me.
That's true. There's a price on it.
For sure. So before we talk about Detroit, let's take a quick break and talk about what is going on this weekend. UFC is going on, UFC 272 more specific. So when Covington and Masvidal step into the octagon this Saturday, it's going to be bonkers. I don't follow UFC too much, but I saw this on my Twitter feed today, so it must be huge. So if you guys want to bet, make some money, you got to make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the official sports betting partner of UFC, and they have a knockout offer for new customers. So if you bet just $1 on the main event, you also get $100 in free bets no matter what. If it's a first round knockout, you get paid. Majority draw, you get paid. Double knockout and resulting in a no contest, you get paid either way. So if you guys haven't downloaded DraftKings, make sure to download it on your phone. It is safe, secure, and reliable. And best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you win. So it's super convenient. And again, you guys can download it on your phones, and you do have to be 21 and over. Arizona only. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. So that's gonna be a good one. I should follow UFC a little bit more. I'm more of a boxing guy. I don't know about you, Owen, but UFC is pretty big right now. So
both of them are great products. I mean, it's no footy. I know Owen's gonna say that right now, but I mean, it's a great time and a good offer. I mean, I might have to hit that up. I mean, gotta enjoy some UFC. And I mean, I know Michael's rooting for the double knockout according to his comment, but you can bet either way, Michael. I don't know if the double knockout's gonna happen, but hey, props to you.
Hey, we never know. You're going to get paid regardless. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the comments. We appreciate you guys tuning in this Tuesday night. PHX Rising Nation. Can't watch live tonight. Just want to say hi. If you can't watch live, you can always listen to us on the streaming platform. So if you guys can't catch us live, maybe tomorrow on the way to work, you guys can just listen to that. But we appreciate everybody here on the chat. Thank you so much, guys. All right, let's move on to Detroit City FC, or as some people call it, they have a little nickname.
The Nisa All-Stars.
There you go.
The Nisa All-Stars.
So that was a great game. I actually had a lot of fun because I don't think we had seen Rising like this the entire preseason. It was a 2-2 final score, but it went into halftime with Rising being down by 2. So it was a great game to see. The starting lineup was Lalo Delgado, Ryan Flood, James Musa, Farrell, Chaston, Lambert, Quinn. Trilist number 2, Marcus Epps, Ivan Gutierrez, and Claudio Repetto. So a pretty strong lineup for that second game. So what happened during the first half, Owen? Why did they go down 2 goals at half?
I think that Rising had a spell where they started the game really confidently, right? Within 60 seconds they'd created a chance. A few minutes later they win a penalty, and then Claudio Repetto's effort wasn't his best effort. Let's be honest about that, right? It was a good. Any penalty save is a good save, right? It's hard to really, but he could have challenged the goalkeeper a little bit more. Let's put it that way. I know Rick mentioned tactically they weren't quite prepared for what Detroit brought, and it was different. It was something very different. We don't normally see formations in the USL where you've got that like 5 at the back or 3 and 2 wing backs, however you want to describe it, while also having 2 players up top. And that's what they went with. I believe it was 2 trialists, one of whom we know to be Billy Forbes. The other one, Rick mentioned in the post game, was Francis Atuahene. They just caught them at times, especially as the half went on and Rising. I think they'd lost some of the confidence maybe from the early struggles and this penalty. There was another opportunity that Repetto really probably should have buried.
It was like a header, right?
Yeah, well, it was the ball came in. You know, he had the ball, I believe, at his feet. It was, you know, literally about 2 yards out, and it was just straight at the goalkeeper. And it's hard, you know. When you miss those chances early, it starts to slip away from you. You do start to feel like it's not your night, especially if tactically, you know, you're struggling. It's a bit different. But hey, in the end, they did come back in the second half, so you can't knock them for that.
That's true. Yeah, I just felt like Detroit really packed the middle, and I think Rising just weren't able to, once they had the ball in their feet, especially Quinn, he wasn't able to turn around, and once he did, even then the lanes were cut off pretty quickly. So just for them to be able to move the transition again from the back all the way to Detroit's half, that was a bit of a difficult time for Rising. And so unfortunately there were some defensive mistakes too, and that's why Detroit was able to come up. But you know, second half was a completely different game. They came out firing. And so what were the changes for Rising during that second half against Detroit?
I think they just came out a little bit more, perhaps prepared, a little bit more confident at that
point. You think Rink kind of chimed into them a little bit?
Yeah, he'd had that kind of conversation of, you know, don't let certain things get into your mind, you know, in the way that they had been in the first half. And I think that just kind of settled them down a bit. They came out. Ultimately, you know, you get the 1 goal via the own goal, which you'll take it, right?
Yeah.
You know, you'll take it.
I don't think it was just a random own goal. Yeah,
but you know, it was a cross in, right? And it was a bit weird because you remember it came off the guy's head.
Yeah.
Then it went straight to the goalkeeper. He kind of trickled in. It was a bit messy, but
yeah.
But then, I mean, Ryan Flood's strike was. We've been waiting to see that. We've seen him try it a few times. We've been waiting to see when it actually hit the net, and it was just phenomenal.
I liked his goal because I don't think I even clapped or anything, or really did anything. I just kind of looked at Edwin and you, and we all just kind of went, "Okay, that's pretty good." It just happened so quickly, and I honestly expected the ball to sail out, but then it dipped over the keeper, and I was like, "Holy crap!" You know, it was great. So. A great comeback in the second half. Marcus Epps, I felt like, was the guy that, like, kind of the catalyst behind that. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that, you know, Epps, one thing we have seen from Marcus Epps is that, you know, as much as sometimes you can question, has he got the goal scoring ability and all of that, you know, especially when he's stepping into Solomon Asante's footsteps, right? One thing that we have seen is the fact that his footwork and his ability to work in those spaces, he's just brilliant in those spaces, and if he can keep creating that kind of danger, you know, it really bodes well. It really bodes well for the season, especially if you've got Santi scoring goals, you've got whoever's playing at number 9 scoring goals. You don't necessarily need Marcus Epps to be scoring goals at a high rate. You need him to be helping create goals, and I think that from what we've seen so far, I think he's perfectly suited to doing that.
Yeah, he dropped down a lot, which literally passing the halfway line in order to get the ball and be able to move it forward. And I think that's the little spark that Rising were missing. And so once he did that, the game opened up a lot more, and he was able to get more involved defensively, which was awesome. The academy players showed up for the last 15 minutes right after the Ryan Flood golazo. What did you think? I was happily surprised by these kids, and they were able to keep the score even and might have even won the game.
Can you imagine if the Nice All-Stars had fallen to a bunch of actual teenagers? And, you know, when we say a bunch of actual teenagers, right, in these friendlies, you expect that there will be academy kids will be out there. You'll put a couple out. You'll throw some out. You know, there was an entire 11 of academy kids. They stopped everyone and the goalkeeper. It was a full academy team. They were all like 16, 17, 18 years old. And while I think that they were under fire at times, that, you know, were there many moments that really stood out to you as I think Detroit are going to score?
Not really. I don't think they were really.
No.
There was one play where, and I was mentioning this to Edwin because we both kind of looked at each other. Number 3, the center back for Rising, he was timing his tackles really well. He was looking at the pitch and knowing where to step in. I was really surprised by him, and I was like, you know what, this guy could really play. And I was happily surprised. But any like super chance at the 3rd goal from Detroit, I didn't see it at all. I think they held their own.
Well, with Rising, actually, there was that one opportunity, and I'm sorry to put the kid who was wearing the number 9 shit on blast on here, but You had the opportunity, my man. The defender slipped, and he's got the whole goal there,
box, yeah.
and he couldn't keep it down. And it's unfortunate, right? It
Yeah.
happens. It happens, especially when you're a literal teenager up against professionals.
And again, it's only 15 minutes,
It was only 15 minutes, but they really played well. I think they should be really proud of how well that they did, given the circumstances.
And I think Rick, after the game, he made in that clip that we played, he made it a point to thank the players and congratulate them on their efforts, because that's not a a bad thing to accomplish, to be able to hold your own against these players from Detroit. So I was happy. Number 9, he had that chance, but overall, I was really happy with all of them. Let's see here. We got some comments. Justin, live from the gym. Your voices will get me pumped up plenty. Let's go. I like that. Justin, Floody sophomore statement. Let's go. Yeah, that I can't say enough about that goal, because I was really surprised. But I think it was the first golazo that I've seen from the preseason. But I don't know what you think, Edwin. I was happily surprised by that goal.
I think we should give the fans the opportunity to see the goal.
Let's go.
And then I'll talk about it. How
Yes,
about
sir.
that?
Yeah, that was a goal. Yeah.
And again, I don't know if you noticed, if you guys didn't see it on that first time, Marcus Epps was the one that gave the pass to Flood to be able to carry that ball up that space. So, but Edwin, what were your thoughts on it?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was like a lot of people are just saying now, even in the comments, it was a golazo. And I think we saw a very passionate Ryan Flood in the second half. I think in the first half, he was getting into the game, and you can see a little bit of what we saw of the Ryan Flood that kind of got dropped toward the end of last season. Toward the second half, he was very vocal. I mean, if you heard any mistake, he let his voice be heard. I'm not going to.
We can hear everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
It was an
yeah.
empty
That
stadium.
empty stadium, just everything carries in there.
Exactly. So I think for Ryan, I mean, we heard everything, and I can't repeat what he said on air, but he was passionate into the game, and so I was waiting for his moment. And then when he did that goal, I mean, the crowd, obviously there was no crowd, but I mean the other team was just stunned, and he gave the shush celebration. So that's how you know you're passionate about a goal. You give a shush celebration. So I think that's huge for him. I think it's huge for his confidence heading into the season, because after what happened last season, your confidence is going to be out as a player. So for someone like Ryan, as an option off the bench, you need him to be clicking just in case something happens to one of the wingbacks, and he can step in there. So I think that obviously is just a huge sentiment, and we saw that in a version of a goal.
I did want the rest of the players, though, to come out and like maybe hug him or dap him up or something, because he came out to the touchline and everybody was just like, "Hey, yeah, good goal." Like no, that was sick, man. Let's. Yeah, Justin's like, who's he shushing though? The people that are rooting for him,
I mean,
Golden Guard supporters, maybe.
the
Who knows?
haters.
I think it was more the bench. I think the bench were going at Ryan Flood because he was being very vocal. So I think at least that had to do something with it. I mean, at least I'd like to think. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but it was a great goal, definitely. And I like that. I like that Ryan Flood is stepping up, and now you have that little kind of battle between Babu and him on that side, because Babu had a great game against Valley United as well. So I like that little jostling for positioning to see who can be the starter.
Yep.
So great stuff. Anything that you think, Owen, that based off these two games that we saw on Friday, that Rising should improve heading into next or this upcoming Saturday?
I think that it's hard to say really, because we haven't actually watched them lose this year, have we?
I think Houston.
But we didn't get to see that
Oh, we
game.
didn't get to see
We don't really know where it went wrong.
Yeah.
It's the only game that we haven't been able to see, at least. It's hard. I think that, most of the team, we know what is likely to come out there. Even if Rick will keep saying, yes, there's competition, this, that, and like, I know there's a degree of competition, but we know that, we know what the lineup is likely going to be, with one or two caveats. And I think that's the striker position. We still really need to work out who is going to be that number 9.
Yeah.
I think that beyond that, it's just continuing to grow in the in terms of just chemistry between players and making sure that they're spending time with each other and on all of that, so they're ready for when they do actually face against a Monterey Bay team that without wanting to go into what we're expecting to see out of them too much today, it's an expansion team. There's limited knowledge about what's happening there. I mean, I and Scott's just commenting in here though. I think he has got a point to make there that the defensive midfielders is filling in at centre back, not necessarily the best option. I think that I know that Rick has had a couple more trialists taking a look. He mentioned about that today, so I think there's still time for some movement in that position. But I think you're probably right, Scott. That is probably the main thing to.
They did have a midfielder as a trialist against Detroit. I don't know if you were able to find out any info about him.
There's only so much information that we can find on these, but a name of Marco Alfonso I've heard thrown around. So
and if you Google it, takes you to GCU. So
so
it was good. It was good to see him. I don't think he blew me away as far as in the midfield. He did give the first pass to set up Epps for that penalty that in the first half, but he played okay. I wasn't really too blown away, but definitely I think there's other spaces maybe we or Rising need some other players at this time. So this week, Saturday, there's another doubleheader, which is against GCU and FC Tucson. We're going to be there on Saturday. It's going to be a fun time. Hopefully not as chilly, because I was wearing like 4 layers, man. I'm telling you, it was cold.
Guys, it's not that bad.
You're talking to a desert boy. Born in Nogales, barely leaves the city.
Absolutely. I'm with him right there. Also, can I say, I'll help out Owen with this. For me, what I want to see come this upcoming doubleheader is some players step up a little more. And for me, one name resonates that I think I was a little disappointed last season and a little disappointed in this preseason is Ivan Gutierrez. I think he came in with a good resume and he had international kind of pedigree and all that. So I was expecting a lot from him off the bench. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem like he's gotten that click. He hasn't fit that team yet. He hasn't maybe meshed with the team well or kind of gotten his play style yet, because I think that I expected him to not be on the level of Arturo, and I'm not saying he has to be, but I think he was going to play it like an off the bench, can be impactful role last season. He wasn't that. In this preseason, we saw him start in the second game, and it seems like he didn't know his role. So I would like to see kind of him and maybe some of the defense. There was times in the first half where they had lapses, they had turnovers, that there was issues. So maybe that is another thing I would add.
Yeah, no, I think that's all really valid. I think that Gutierrez, I mean, like, we saw him just kind of drop off last season. He never really featured, did he? Of any note last season, it was like a handful of appearances off the bench.
Well,
they were
even
like
now,
really short ones.
He just looks like he's running around. I don't really see him talking or demanding the ball. He's on that left side. I don't see it. Like, I just feel like he's just filling in the position and not really impacting the game itself. So definitely something to look for, to keep an eye out moving forward. There was a press conference today, Owen. Any updates on what's going on?
Yeah, so I mean, Manuel Madrid was mentioned in there. He had his first training session back. Full training session today. Apparently quite a hard session to come back in, so they're going to have to reevaluate him. In terms of, since actually I'll link that in with one of the questions you had there about the formations I think we're going to use and all of that. I think that what we're realistically going to expect to see, I think based on how Rick was talking, is we're probably going to see the 4-3-3 as the main formation going into this season. The other stuff like the 4-4-2 and all of that, there are options there on the side. They can be picked out as and when needed. In terms of Carlos Anguiano, there's someone we didn't see on the weekend. The reason we didn't see him, he was dealing with some knee issues. And as far as I can tell, he's still maybe dealing with those knee issues. Not really too clear from Rick on that, but I think those are the main things really to update. It's those injuries, isn't it? Right? Yeah. It's always the injuries. Those are always the.
And then also speaking of injuries, Niall was there on Friday. He didn't seem like he had just had surgery because he was walking around.
No, and I saw him at training today, and he's out there lifting weights.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
They said 4 to 6 months, might be 4 to 6 days. I don't know. We'll see about that. But yeah, thank you for those comments, everybody. Justin saying, how did Lalo look to you guys?
I think that we'd been impressed by Lalo throughout a lot of this preseason, and what we saw from Lalo against Detroit was kind of the Lalo that we saw last year at times, and he made some good saves. He did make some good saves in there and kept them out when maybe he shouldn't have. But there were also errors in there. I think there's at least one moment in the first half where I just remember he spilled the ball, and it was just a mess in that penalty area, right? He ended up having to clear it by foot, and it was concerning. And I think that he can, if he can look more like the Lalo that we've seen in some of the other preseason games, I feel a lot better than the Lalo that we saw against Detroit City. But look, at the end of the day, he's not going to get that many minutes probably in the season unless something happens to Ben Lund. So I worry that what we'll see from Lalo will be much of what we saw last season, simply because he isn't getting playing time. And it will be what we saw against Detroit City because he's not getting playing time. I don't know. It's a hard one. It's always a hard one with a backup goalkeeper. Always a hard one.
Oh, and at least for me, I'll chip in a little bit. I think I feel a little more comfortable if he had to come in. I think that's the biggest thing. Is last season, I don't know if I would have felt that same way. I think that's why they brought in both Ben Lunt, Andre Rawls with the Lubin situation. So I think there's areas to improve. Absolutely. We saw that quite a bit. But if need be, come in an injury to Lunt. Again, I'm not wishing that on Lunt with anything, but I would feel more comfortable with Lalo the way he's looked in the first few games, hoping that he doesn't repeat what he did in that final game.
Yeah, definitely. And again, they got 2 more preseason games coming up, the final 2 before the regular season starts. So kind of like the last test, I think both teams will be playing 90 minutes just to get their fitness going. So definitely something I'm looking forward to. We did talk about Arturo a little bit earlier, and I know you wanted to maybe touch on that a little bit, Owen. And you did ask Seijas today regarding Arturo and how, some stuff that he's been speaking to him about. Anything you want to kind of plug in before we play the video?
Let's play the video first, and then I'll come in with my opinion there.
Let's do it.
I think he's more conscious of when he has to release the ball. Sometimes last year I talked to him a lot that sometimes he was taking a lot of inefficient touches. Watching him on the last games, you can see now that he knows when to keep the ball, and he knows when to play fast, and where he can be really dangerous. Also last year I tried to help him a little bit with his orientation when he received the ball, and he's doing very well on that. It's going to be a great season for him, and we hope, because if he's good, we're going to do much better.
All right, so I am going to come in now with my Arturo thing here. I think that if Arturo plays up to his potential, I think that he is going to be the best player on this team this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's something that's really up for debate. I think that just the sheer potential, when you see someone like, in these past 2, well, not past 2, was it? It was the ones we saw last week, and then Sporting Kansas City wins. The balls he was spraying forward when he was coming really deep, winning the ball deep, and then just spraying this ball forward and finding someone up there.
Yeah.
It was just, I didn't expect that from him. I didn't expect to see Arturo coming deep. And, the one he set up a chance that, I keep doing this to death. I'm sorry, Marcus, but you should have scored that.
Should have scored it, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then this past weekend, ball goes up, Joey Calistri gets on the end of it, penalty. And then even later in that game as well, actually, where Arturo comes deep, gets past a few players, then plays that weighted ball just past the defender for Greg Hurst, and Greg Hurst scores.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that. I like that he's taking command of that midfield. He's doing a few scans, and I think even Rick said it, I may be wrong, but he said that how Seijas was saying that he maybe took a couple of 2 extra touches that he didn't really need to, and because he has that little more time, he's able to, play those really wonderful balls that you're talking about. So it's great. You've been chiming about him the entire preseason, how he may even be like a dark horse MVP. Do you think that's kind of ceiling-wise?
I think that if he plays the kind of season that he's capable of, and I mean, I guess when you think about that, you say dark horse. Should he really be a dark horse? If we're talking about him as a potential team MVP on a team that has had someone shortlisted for MVP for each of the last 3 seasons, that is a consistent title contender, are you really a dark horse at that point? I guess
That's true.
You know, I think he's a serious contender if he can play up to his potential.
Yeah.
That, of course, is that's the caveat to that, is that it's if he plays up to his potential.
Keep it consistently throughout the season as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, well, definitely looking forward to that. And again, they got the 2 preseason games coming up. Have they said anything about streaming, or I'm sure it's going to be closed
We're still
doors,
waiting
but-
on that. We're still waiting on that. They will be closed door. Streaming information, we're waiting on.
And we'll let you know.
Yeah.
And
We'll let you
again-
know when we know.
And again, on Twitter, first thing, PHNX __rising.
Double the underscore, double the
There you go.
fun.
I set him
There
up.
we
I was
are.
trying to set
He
him
was
up.
waiting for me
I was
that
trying to set him
time.
up.
I'm happy with that. Okay.
But yeah, if you haven't, go ahead and follow us there, and we'll keep you up to date with everything having to do with Phoenix Rising. All right, y'all. Kind of winding down here, but before we kind of wrap it up, we do have one more thing. Owen has some treat for us, like I said in the beginning of the show. But I also want to talk about this shirt. Let's see if I can put it on the. There you go. Our brand new PHNX Rising podcast shirt. If you guys haven't seen it, it's right here on the screen. Go to phnxlocker.com. Go ahead and score yourself some of these shirts. We saw it at the last game. Someone had already gotten their shirt, which was amazing. So make sure to go over there and purchase that shirt before the first official game of the season. And we'll
And you
be
should
there.
also, while you're at it, make sure that you get the best Rising shirt ideas that you can possibly come up with, and please tag my man here.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's right.
Do it
Put 'em
all
all
week, all week.
Put it all together. Maybe a long tan.
Blow up his
long tan
mentions.
shirt. I don't know. I'm
Long
still-
time shirt.
I'm
There
still-
we go.
I'm still trying to figure this
Now,
out.
see, someone's coming up with this. We need to get this guy a job in the merchandise
I don't
here.
know. We'll see. We'll see. All right, y'all. So yeah, make sure to grab that shirt, and again, phnxlocker.com. That's where you can get the shirt. All right, Owen. Let's do this thing. You brought some treats for us today. I know Edwin's ready. I know I'm not ready, but I'm gonna do it just for you. This is the content we're looking for. But take it away.
Yeah, it's St. David's Day today.
What was that?
It is St. David's Day today. So it's the patron saint of Wales. So it's like our national day. I think it's
Oh.
why I'm wearing the Wales top here, and
Nice,
we've
nice.
got a little Wales flag up here, which just slowly taking over the studio. But yeah, we've got some stuff here. Got some Welsh cakes.
I said there were cookies, and I got yelled
Yeah,
at.
they're
so-
not cookies.
but yeah,
We're just
see if I
gonna
can hold
clarify
them up
that.
to
So
y'all.
yeah.
Can you tell me what's in here or how it's made a little bit before I take a bite? Or-
Yeah. So it's food.
Okay, that
Yeah.
works. That works.
Give it about. I want to see your reaction to this. Now.
Okay. But then you'll tell me what's in it, right?
Yeah.
Should he
Okay.
go first?
I'll do.
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
mean, no.
Oh, all of us, feel free.
Okay. I don't know if people will enjoy my chewing on the mic, but that's really good. I like it. I approve.
Edwin.
Thumbs up. Hey,
Yeah, this is going down well.
that's a good mix with the the next treat.
Yeah, the other thing, we've got some. We've managed to acquire some Welsh whiskey, which we're just sitting here.
All right, I gotta get some water first before.
He's getting some water in before moving on with that one, but yeah, pretty much this is what we. So yeah, the Welsh cakes. There's different spices in there.
Okay.
We've got raisins in there.
Nice.
You know, you could do it with currants instead.
Is this what you eat during this day, or is this just like kind of like a Welsh thing?
It's just kind of like a Welsh thing.
Okay.
Right? So,
Is there anything special Welsh people do during this day besides just celebrating? Just for
It's
my
hard
knowledge.
to- yeah, that's an interesting question. I know in schools there's a lot of they often have what they call the Eisteddfod.
Okay.
So it's kind of like they have a big competition and all,
Yeah.
kind of stuff like that.
You guys get the day off? Is it like a national
no,
holiday?
oh god, that
No?
now we're getting into politics.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, the see Edwin is the. Do you want to have a guess who won't let us have the day off?
Oh my God.
No.
He's gonna put you on the spot, Edwin.
What? Repeat your question here, Owen.
Do you want to have a guess who won't let us have the day off?
Oh no, is it the English?
Maybe.
Is it Bojo?
Not getting into specifics, but
I need to get more in touch with this region's politics and food. I think it's really interesting, especially now that I'm hanging out with you guys more. So
Yeah.
you said whiskey from Wales, right?
yeah, apparently this is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's give it a shot. I think my mom's watching the show, so I don't know if she's gonna be a fan of this. But That's really nice. That's really good. Yeah.
Edwin, you look like you were pulling a face back there.
Well,
Did you take the whole shot? Because I was just sipping it.
Yeah, I should have sipped it. Well, here's the thing, sometimes when you get a little bit of drink, you're just so tempted to just down it, But it's a really good
Speak
taste.
for yourself, man. Speak for yourself.
It's really good. It's really good. Honest review, really good. Clears up the sinuses a little bit, as I tell Owen. But it's a good taste, especially you get that nice little ice on it, a little bit, just the right amount. Just have Owen be your bartender because he served it very well.
No, we need some Justin. Justin says Welsh chewing ASMR.
I'm just sit here chewing into the mic. Yeah. No.
Hey, if you listen to us on streaming platforms, you're gonna get all of it. So looking forward to that. All right, I like this. Thank you, Owen, for bringing that. Appreciate it. Oh man, I'm gonna have to finish that after, and then I got soccer practice. Okay, fun stuff here, but really great show today, guys. As well as in Canada.
All right, before we get on, Edwin is like dying behind the desk over there.
I thought you had to go to work, Rising Nation. What happened here?
Rising Nation always has the best questions. And, it's something in the back of my head. Is Wales in Canada?
I can confirm the answer is no.
It's pretty good. I saw someone. This is not in the same lines, but I saw someone under the Twitter post for the event on Monday. Because they didn't say it was a jersey reveal, right? But someone said, "Is this for the new liquor license?" Liquor license reveal. That's pretty funny. But it's an England Edward. Dang, he called you by your government.
We'll get Michael blocked. It's okay. Don't worry, guys.
Oh my God. But yeah, we appreciate everybody in the comments. Yeah, thank you for tuning in this Tuesday. But that kind of wraps it up for us. This Thursday, we're going to be talking about the game against GCU and FC Tucson, so that's going to be really good. Anything else they should be looking forward to on Thursday?
I think we should talk a little bit more about what we're hoping to see in the kit. Let's talk. I know when you were gone, unfortunately, Ramon. It was all the talk about what our favorite one so far is. But I think we should have a talk about what our ideal Rising kit would look like.
All three should design.
Oh yeah,
and then we'll put it on the screen, and then y'all can tell us which one's the best one. I'm down.
Let's do it,
Edwin.
I don't know if you guys followed this, but it's called like NBA paint art, where it's a stick man that they draw, and it's terrible. That's gonna be my art. I know I'm not gonna get any votes because my design's
No,
terrible.
I think you're probably gonna win.
I'm just gonna write the color red.
Red.
And then just point out
As
where I
long as
want
the
it to
kit
be.
isn't white. Make it a color other than white with just red written on it. Then you're good.
Don't worry, we'll do that though. I do like that
We'll do
idea.
that,
I'm not a design artist though, so I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time.
That's
Warning.
gonna be fun.
Which means you're gonna win, isn't it? Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, that kind of wraps it up for us. So we appreciate you tuning in this Tuesday night. And if you're listening to us on any of the streaming platforms, we appreciate you. If you haven't, please rate and subscribe there as well. If you leave us a 5-star review, Owen will bring you a hand-deliver a Welsh pastry over there to you. So just make sure to do that. But yeah, we'll see you on Thursday, guys. And if you haven't, again, follow us on PHNX __rising. We're trying to get to 500 followers. And so if you guys could help us out, draw them in crayon. If you guys could help us out, we would appreciate it. Anything else, Edwin? Owen?
Yachida.
What he said.
Exactly.
Go the Welsh.
All right, y'all. Have a great night. Take care.